Welcome to Dobby's Repairs. I'm Dobby the Fixing Elf, and this is what's in my toolbox, the series where I show you the tools I use to repair cars and fix things. So let's find out what's in my toolbox today. And in this instalment, we have this oil filter vent set. So we have a really nice blow molded case. Let's get it open so we can have a look at it. And around. The little catches. Once we get both of them, there we are. And then we have a selection of various sizes of oil filter vents. I will put a little picture up of all the sizes in just a moment. We'll go over a few of the more common ones. But let's just grab one out. Grab this one out. So this is your 76mm with 14 flutes. So the flutes are the amount of divots you have on it. Let me just grab this oil filter. You see you've got these little flute cuts here. I don't know if you can actually pick it up on camera. Your little flutes in here, and then this will go on it like so. And yeah, they fit on fairly nice and fairly snug depending on the size you want. These have all sorts of different uses. You can use these on the plastic oil filter housings as well. Pop that off for a second. This is a brand new oil filter, it's been used, so don't worry about leaking anywhere. But yeah, generally these work quite well. They grip onto stuff fairly easily, and you just use them with your standard ratchet. So as a 3/8 drive. You pop your drive on it, spin it around. They don't hold on this most secure, but they do hold on fairly well. Obviously, also comes with a little 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter, so if someone's gone absolutely crazy and tightened them down extremely tightly with a 3/8 or with a 1/2 inch ratchet and just really gone to town and impacted them on, I've seen it happen, you can at least stand a chance of getting them off. This is a nice little adapter to include with it. Put that back in there. And yeah, they're fairly solid. They're not the thickest, but they are fairly robust. They're not going to twist or break on you. I've used them a fair amount, particularly this size, which is, as I said, this is off a Vauxhall. Or is this Chevrolet? I think it's off a Vauxhall, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it's either a Vauxhall or a Chevrolet. They're both German motor cars, so they'll probably be for both. But yeah, they fit on really nicely. They hold really tightly. That's what you want, and then obviously you pop your ratchet on, as we just showed you earlier. You don't have to use an electric ratchet with it. I've got that to hand because it's a really handy ratchet. If you haven't seen my video on this, keep an eye out for it. I'll put a link in the description, or maybe a little link in the top corner. You also use like a standard this little thumb drive 3/8. So if you're trying to tighten one down, you haven't got much room, you'll look like that. And this is where the benefit of these cap style ones come in really handy, because if you've got an oil filter that's in a really awkward and hard to reach spot, you just have it like this, have a little extension beam. You might have seen this in a previous video. And yeah, then you pop it on, and then all you have to do, if I can get this all in camera, all in shot, should I say, and then you just twist it from a distance. Then when you get this cap on there, it works fairly well. But yeah, that's not bad at all. Let me quickly pop stuff out of the way so I can carry on with this video. But yeah, as you see, we fit on them fairly well. This is, like I said, the 76x14. They can get rather stuck on there. They do need a good tug. That is the only downside to them because they're quite snug fitting. They do tend to get stuck, but they don't damage your oil filter when you tighten them down. And again, most of these ones only need to be hand tight, so you snug it down nicely and then pull it off. Sometimes they're hard to access them. And yeah, like I said, we've got a vast variety. We've got all this bottom layer and all this top layer. And we do have some very interesting and different ones to come across, like some of the weirder sizes. Like for instance, this is a 93mm with 36 flutes, which is quite a unique one. I haven't got too many people to use that, but it's useful to have. And slightly bigger ones, so this is a 90x15. Again, the flutes just counts how many little flutes there are on here. So depending on how many flutes your oil filter housing or filter has on it, that's what you want to pick for one. It does cover a vast array of vehicles. Obviously you need to make sure you know what size you need. And you're not going to do everything. There are some smaller ones, like for instance on the Citroens and the Renaults and Porsches, we all seem to use different size filter housings. Like for instance on Citroen it's 24mm socket, Don't normally use this style of housing, but for any of those like plastic housing, I'm sorry I haven't got any footage of it in actual action, but unfortunately I just haven't had too many opportunities to film when I've been using these, but I have used them a fair amount and they are fairly robust. As you mentioned, the case is fairly compact as well, and the sizing seems fairly accurate as well, which is another thing. Sometimes you say, for instance, this is going to be 100 mils by 15, and sometimes they say it will be 100 mils, it'll only be like 95. So you can see 100 mil internal. It's not bad at all. You can't even see it on the camera, but you can see 100 mils. And yeah, they are fairly useful for all sorts of different things. Mainly getting off the oil filters. I find them more useful on the plastic housings than on this style of filter. This style of filter, you don't need to really torque on or get them on. People do, and they make it really difficult for people. They also cross-thread them and they leak, so you just be careful of that. And while I've got you here, some people say to pre-fill this. I'm not a fan of that. I just like to lube up this little O-ring and then I'll tighten another hand. I find pre-filling them, especially if you've got the ones that are like upside down, it's okay for the ones going upwards, but for the ones going down or sideways, it just makes a mess. And it'll be fine not to pre-fill them, so in case you're wondering. Yeah, we have a vast selection of sizes. I will put a little clip up, a little picture up now of all the different sizes, nicely arranged so quite easy to spot. Like, there should be a nice background on it. Hopefully that's up now. We do have a vast variety of different sizes and just generally really handy ones to have. Like for instance, this lovely little one down here, which is the 65 by 14. Again, a really handy little housing to have. Come in really handy. Well, obviously the one I use the most is the I'll put that back up in a second. So I mentioned the case does hold them fairly well. This is the 75 and 77 by 15. I've used this one more times than I can count. On a whole host of different vehicles. It seems like a really common size. I'm not sure if it is, but for me it's definitely been very common. And it's still a bit oily. But the case itself is really good for holding these sockets. The top ones are all held in by big lugs. So they've got these big circle pieces of plastic and they sized correctly, so these fit on that, and they, even when you're rustling up and down in the car, in the truck, there's a little blow molded case around, they seem to hold in place. The only one that doesn't hold in place is this 93 by 15. I don't know why, it just didn't want to sit there. No matter how hard you try, it just didn't want to fit in the hole and hold tight. The rest of them fits on these little lugs. I don't know if you can see that just down here, let me just adjust the camera. These little 3/8 size lugs. You just slide your filter cap on there. And yeah, they fit on all fairly nicely and fairly well. So moving on to my final thoughts now. This is a really handy little set. Really useful for if you're doing lots of different oil changes. Probably not something you need if you're just working on your own car, but if you're working on like a few family members' cars, a few friends' cars, and they have different sizes, well worth picking up. If you do like me, you do multiple oil changes on loads of different vehicles, this set is coming an absolute lifesaver. Nothing worse than having to use the wrong tool. I know you can get the chain style ones, and even the ones I've seen previously in other videos, the adjustable ones, but if you're working on plastic ones, they tend to mar the plastic ones up, but these don't, which is a lifesaver. And yeah, they work really well, and as I've said all times, they do fit in really snugly, and that's what you want. You don't want any slop in these ideally, because if you've got a slop, then it makes you more likely to damage the filter, especially if you're putting it back on. It doesn't matter so much when you're taking them off because you're going to be replacing it, but when you're putting them back on, you really need a nice fit so you don't damage what you're taking off. And I said, the ability to use them with like the extension and just general style sockets like these saves so much time when you're buzzing them off. Or even if you spot area, you just use a little something like this, or just a regular 3/8 ratchet. I even use like a mini stubby socket ratchet on here. and this makes it so much easier. Like for instance on some Fords there is absolutely no room, and if you're lucky, whoever put it on before will only hand tighten it. You can pull them off. If you put one of these, just get your hand up there and just work it off. Yeah, they are fairly decent and fairly well made. They're not the thickest materials, but they're definitely thick enough to do the job. They're too bulky to get into spaces. I should probably give you my spanner score now. I think I've talked long enough about these. I'm going to give these a 4 spanner rating. I found them really useful, really handy. And like I said, when you're doing a lot of oil changes, they're definitely worth it for that. So you get 4 spanners for this. And yeah, if you're looking for a quite versatile and well-rounded oil filter socket set or oil filter wrench set, should I say, pick these ones up. They work really well. A huge shout out to my Fixing Club members Sebi, Jason, Rodney and Macca. Thank you all very much for your support. You help me make videos like this, as well as all the other ones I make. So thank you all very much for your support. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps both the channel and me out. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I post 2 videos a week, so by subscribing, you'll never miss a thing. Got any questions or suggestions? Drop a comment down below, and I'll do my best to reply to everyone. Here at Dobby Repairs, we're all about helping you learn how to work on your vehicle safely and showing you don't need to spend a fortune on tools to get the job done. Want to support the channel further? Become a member, starting at just 99p. Members get perks like early access to videos and more exclusive content. Keep fixing, and I'll see you in the next one.